Air raid. This is an article which is written by Dr. Dorothy Shepherd. Almost overnight, everything was altered. Old values have gone, new values have appeared. We have got to accommodate ourselves to a totally different world. And one thing among other, we have been told to keep calm and collected. This is a difficult thing to do when everything around one crashes, business and trade nearly gone. Many people who have responsibilities find themselves reduced almost to the point of penury. Others find their family circle broken up, fathers separated from wives and children, not because they have been carved up to the face of enemy on the battlefield, but because of the whole of the England is now a potential battlefield and the weaker vessel. Old and frail people and the children and their mothers have been moved out to presumably safer areas. This brings forth many new problems of adaptation. Another problem we have all got face the problem of air raids and ARP, as it is called in the short, snappy way, does not only mean splinter-proof and blast-proof shelters, sandbags and the rest. It also means putting on a mental armor to protect ourselves against the insidious enemy of fear and anxiety. Here, homeopathy is a valuable friend and help against the effect of fear, which produces an empty feeling round the umbilicus, a burning, gnawing sensation, cleaving of the tongue to the root of the mouth, a shaking and trembling of limbs, all of it due to the upset of suprarenal gland. There are several remedies in our pharmacopoeia which give us moral protection. I mention the most common. There is Argentum nitricum, the fidgety, nervous individual whose nerves are all to pieces. He is always in a hurry, anxious hurry, so hurried and scared he feels he must run or walk quickly. He can never walk fast enough. He feels he must fly, feels as if all the furies of the underworld were after him, and he runs until he is dead beat. Always anticipates the worst, lives in a perfect welter of fear and anticipation, breaks out in a sweat at the mere though of a raid. But this anxiety and fear brings on internal troubles and disturbances of the gastrointestinal tract. The stomach refuses to digest anything. Vomiting may come on quite suddenly when an air raid warning is sounded, or even diarrhea may suddenly set in. The stomach is full of gas and quantities of wind pass upwards, which usually relieve the distension. Silver nitrate in the 3rd or 6th decimal potency would relieve such an over-anxious, frightened, hurried individual so that he can face the inevitable with more equanimity. A remedy with very similar effects is Gelsemium. He is also in a state of funk due to anticipation, fear, shock from fear, sudden fearful surprises. As Kent puts it, a soldier going into battle gets diarrhea. He becomes weak and exhausted and faint and tired in all his limbs from sudden fear, from sudden shock, such as being awakened at night by a raid warning. Palpitations of the heart accompany this sudden shock. He has not courage, his limbs tremble, but he is struck dumb, almost paralyzed with fear. The restlessness and hurry and anxious running about the Argentum nitricum patient is absent. Thus, you have to individualize and find the right remedy for each state or nerves. Another anxious, restless patient may want Arsenicum. Here you get great fear, great anxiety, great restlessness and prostration. Some people take the blackest view of any situation which might arise. This is the folk which will say, "What is the use of doing anything?" They will wring their hands and wail, "Where can I go? I am not safe anywhere. If I remain here, the bombs will drop here, and if I go away into the country, they are sure to follow me there." These over-anxious people who are much worse when alone, will need arsenic, and it will calm the troubled waters of their mental fear and unrest. Aconite also had symptoms of fear. He is frightened in a crowd, won't mix with people, afraid of public places and public shelters, full of anguish, full of restlessness, afraid of the dark, much affected by the blackout, dark street, darkened rooms. He gets violent palpitation of the heart, the fear, the attacks of heart, not the stomach, and the umbilicus as Argentum, nitricum and Gelsemium do. He predicts the next bomb will hit him and predicts the time of death. He broods over this, and this fear makes him sleepless and restless and full of anxiety. We have another valuable remedy for air raid fear in Ignatia. This is the hysterical individual who faints at the slightest provocation, collapses into the arms of the nearest male for protection, is tearful, nervous, full of twitches and jokes, full of grief. Her husband is away. She is always sighing. She has feeling of emptiness in the stomach and abdomen, along with trembling, is continuously sighing, sad at having said goodbye to her son or her fiancé or her husband. She is apprehensive all the time that something may happen. Ignatia is the best antidote I know for the stressed feeling one gets after a sudden bereavement. When the unfortunate person who is left behind to face the world lies there with dry, burning eyes hours after hours, and can hardly believe that it is true that her dear one has left her. There are hard times, but with these medicines to help us, which the genius of Hahnemann has discovered and worked out, we can face the dark days before us, perhaps with a better heart.